So we're getting pretty close to Season 3 of Diablo 4, and we really haven't gotten any information on this upcoming season, but we now know when we're going to be getting that information. So we recently got a 15-second teaser for Season 3 with the information that we're also going to be getting more information on January 16th. We also got information that we're getting a live stream on January 18th. Now, it wasn't specified, but I'm pretty sure what's going on is that on January 16th, we're going to be getting the Season 3 trailer, like how we got the Season 2 trailer that was like around 2 minutes long that showed some of the story and showed us a glimpse at the new mechanics coming. That's probably what we're going to be getting on January 16th. Then on January 18th at 9 a.m. PST time, we're going to be getting our next developer live stream that is probably going to be around 2 hours like all of our other live streams usually are. Now, we may be able to glean some additional information from this 15-second teaser we got. Now, it starts off with a bunch of chains and gears in what seems to be the inside of some type of machine. And as the camera zooms in and goes through that, it comes out the other side with a darkened version of the big armored guy that was from previous Season 3 artwork. The most interesting part about this is these circular broken tablets of runes that are also circling around this armored figure. And at the end of the trailer, it says evil looms. Now, I'm not sure if this is just the words they chose to use or if they're trying to hint at that this machine that we're inside of is a loom. Now, this would kind of make sense having a loom that also ties into these different runes, and I do think these runes that are being teased again in this teaser, we also got a tease when we first got told about Season 3 because the name of it was basically redacted, but redacted in a way where the name was made up of different rune symbols. And with another teaser coming out that also has runes pretty heavily featured, I do think that we are gonna be getting runes in Season 3. I've done multiple videos going over that I do think in Season 3 we would be getting runes. Then we got the teaser showing some runes, and now we have another teaser showing even more runes. And we also have had leaks in the past that I've also gone over that suggest that in Season 3 we are gonna be getting runes or rune words, or even one leak mentioning some corrupted runes. So all of this information put together, I think it's looking more and more likely that Season 3's main mechanic is going to in some way tie into the first iteration of runes or rune words into Diablo 4. And before Diablo 4 was even released, developers did mention that they want to add runes into Diablo 4 at some time. They were working on runes like 3 or 4 years ago when Diablo 4 was first revealed. Then those were taken out of the game because they didn't think they would be able to do them correctly. So they wanted to save them till later on, seeming to be with Season 3. Now, what is interesting is that it does seem like they're trying to tell us in this teaser that there is going to be some type of loom as a main part of it. And that would also make sense to have this loom machine where maybe you stitch on runes into your pieces of gear. That would make a lot of sense. You're stitching in these different runes into your gear, and that's going to be the main mechanic where you're now going to have these different runes, and you can probably combine rune words while stitching the different runes into your gear. This would also kind of add in a bit more crafting into the game, as you would be more directly changing your gear to add in these different runes or rune words into them. So this could be a little bit of a test as well, not only adding runes into the game, which if these runes are at all interesting, players will want to keep them. Runes are a very beloved part of the Diablo franchise, especially Diablo 2. So if they're slightly decent, players are going to want to keep them. And my guess is that they are also going to be testing some additional crafting elements, because that's one of the main things that developers of Diablo 4 have mentioned they want to do going forward. They want getting a piece of gear to be your starting point, so they want to add a ton of additional crafting elements to allow you to basically fully customize your gear, obviously going more in a Path of Exile direction where you can take one random piece of gear that maybe has some slightly decent stats, and you can do so much to it that you could potentially turn that slightly decent piece of gear into some best in slot piece of gear that's completely different than what you started with. And I think these potential looms could actually be a good way to test some new crafting elements. So I do very much think that these runes, this new loom that's going to probably be directly tied into runes or rune words, is probably going to be the new main mechanic for season 3. But also keep in mind, we're getting a lot more content. There's probably going to be content we don't know about, but we do know about the Gauntlet, which is the new leaderboard system, which is also going to be coming with the accompanying dungeons to the Gauntlet that are going to be preset dungeons. So the dungeon you're running through in the Gauntlet is always going to be the same. And that's how you're going to be going for your leaderboard rankings. I've gone over a video going over everything you need to know about the Gauntlet, so I definitely recommend checking that out, but that's also coming with season 3, and we know there's going to be a ton of balance changes and other stuff, so season 3 is looking like it's going to be pretty substantial. But there is something else that makes season 3 much more exciting than season 1 and 2, because developers have also mentioned this when kind of talking about how development is going with their different seasons and all the different teams Diablo 4 is working on it. Season 3 is going to be the first season for Diablo 4 that has actually been fully developed after Diablo 4 was released, meaning every single part of season 3 is going to be developed with knowing a lot of the player complaints and feedback. With season 1 and 2 and with how development works, both season 1 and 2 will have been at least somewhat developed before Diablo 4 was actually released. Season 1 was almost fully developed before Diablo 4 was released. Season 2 was probably half and half developed before Diablo 4 was released and then half developed after, but season 3 is going to be the first season fully developed after launch, which I think is going to make it substantially different from season 1 and 2. I think they're going to be able to take a lot of their learnings from those seasons and from the launch of the game, and I think it's not only going to be the most content-filled season we've gotten so far, I think it's going to be the most player-driven season we've gotten so far. I think a lot of the changes and a lot of the additions of the season are going to be things that players have directly said they wanted. So I, for one, am pretty excited for season 3, especially with how good season 2 actually was. So I'm very excited for the 16th and then the 18th. And then not too long after that, we actually have the launch of the season. So we're only a couple weeks off from actually getting in and playing season 3. But that's all I want to go over. So thanks for watching.